People moving out, people moving in. Why? Because of the color of their skin. Run, 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 but you sure can't hide. Well, nobody's interested in learning but the teacher. Segregation, determination, demonstration, integration, aggravation, humiliation, obligation to my nation.
Welcome to Detroit Wants to Know. This week, we're back at Ricker Tuna's Furs. We're going to be talking about their sale in a minute, but before we even get to that, we have got to talk about two issues. Last November, when I interviewed Governor Snyder, I asked him in the fourth segment whether Detroit Public Schools would be a legacy-defining event, whether Flint would be a legacy-defining event. He wasn't concerned about his legacy then. Well, my friends, his people down the line have destroyed his legacy. And the problem now is he doesn't know what to do. Every time he's been called on something, he's had a straight-up answer. But now, when you ask him, what did you know and when did you know it, it's I feel sorry for the governor because his people down the line put him into this mess, but it is his mess as the leader. Let's talk about Flint for a minute. The people at the MDEQ, the state of Michigan, allowed that emergency manager to flip that switch, which has poisoned children, which has corroded pipes. Mayor Karen Weaver says that it may cost $1.5 billion. Well, to my recollection, the state has a $500 million surplus. They ain't got $1.5 billion. Governor Snyder has gone out now and asked for federal assistance to declare a federal emergency so we can have FEMA into Flint. It's unconscionable that we let this happen. Now, he's not going to go to jail because of governmental immunity. And we're really going to see his mettle right now. We're going to see the mettle of Governor Snyder if he can pull out of this because it's dark. His legacy is destroyed. Everything great he did in Detroit has now been overshadowed. That follows over into the whole DPS legislation. A package of 8 bills will be introduced regarding the bailout and change of DPS. So far, Governor Snyder, the Republicans have only introduced 2. One of them deals with governance. The governance structure of DPS being an appointed board to start off immediately, and then at the end of this year, an elected board will be seated. Only problem is that appointed board will appoint the superintendent, and the new elected board can't fire the superintendent. Excuse me, that sounds just like an emergency manager. It still sounds like state control, and we all know it was state control that took DPS from a surplus to an at least $500 million deficit. This is wrong direction. I asked Governor Snyder about this. He said he was negotiating it out. This is back in November. He's negotiating out, going to see what he's going to do. But he went back and they did the same thing. The other thing they did was do an appropriation for $250 million to actually start the new Detroit Community Schools District. Okay, so you got the seed money in there, you got the governance in there, you got that in there. That's okay, but nothing has been done yet to deal with that debt. Nothing has been done yet to deal with that legacy cost, and that will be interesting. I've been working with MERS News trying to get to the bottom of one issue, and I asked this question in November. How much money does Detroit contribute to the lottery? That question is very, very important. CBS News just did a report with Sherry Gay Daniego. You've seen her on our show, asking, is the lottery money going to the students? Well, it's really not in Michigan, only like $717 million. But we need to know how much Detroit is actually putting into that lottery, because the lottery dollars could become a way out of this for the state. It's going to be a stretch. There's one other issue that we have not dealt with, and that is who is really going to monitor those charter schools. There are some charter schools that need to be closed. Mayor Duggan's Detroit Schools Commission, though I'm not happy with another administrative layer, would do that. Those bills need to be introduced. So my friends, that's the problem with DPS. That's the problem with Flint. These are what we call LDEs, legacy destroying events. If Governor Snyder doesn't get it right, there's a big problem. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about marijuana and Republicans with my good friend Paul Welding.
This is Arthur Bricker of Bricker Tunis Furs in West Bloomfield. We're back with the biggest fur clearance sale in our history. Save 40 to 70% off on women's and men's furs and shearlings. Choose from mink, sheared mink, sable, chinchilla, fox, beaver, and exquisite leathers and shearlings in the latest styles from Europe. Plus, our consignment boutique is full of gorgeous furs priced at a fraction of the original cost. No other furrier in Metro Detroit can match our quality, our selection, or our prices.
Celebrating 100 years in business. Call today, 248-855-9200.
We're the Cronin Law Firm, bringing more to the table. When we sit down together, we share our expertise. You've got a legal problem, we know you need relief. Advice that you can trust, that's why people come to us. We're the Cronin Law Firm, bringing more to the table.
Attention all Castech graduates. Please join the Castech Alumni Association at the Castech Centennial Celebration Weekend, January 22nd to 24th at the Motor City Casino and Hotel. For more information, visit ctaa100years.org. See you there.
Mike's Fresh Market, Detroit's largest independent supermarket with the best prices, quality, and service. Enjoy our vast selection of fresh fruits and vegetables. Wide aisles lead you to our own in-house bakery and deli. Beef, pork, chicken, seafood, and much more. You can rest assured you will feed your family the freshest food in town. Whatever you need, you can find it here at Mike's Fresh Market. Mike's Fresh Market with 2 locations, Gratiot and 7 Mile and Livernois and 7 Mile. Better food, better prices. That's Mike's promise.
With 20 top surgeons performing over a dozen of the latest knee, hip, and joint procedures at the hospitals you know and trust, we only have one question. Where does it hurt? Orthopedics and Sports Medicine at the DMC. Call 888-DMC-2500. The DMC's sports medicine specialists, the official docs of our Detroit Red Wings. With offices throughout Southeast Michigan and more than 30 rehabilitation locations, we can make you feel better in all these places. Call 888-DMC-2500.
Welcome back to Detroit Wants to Know. We're here at Bricker Tunis Furs in lovely West Bloomfield, Michigan. I have my good friend Paul Welding with me. Paul, let's not get high just yet. Let's talk about the Republicans.
Right.
What's going on with my man Kasich from Ohio?
Well, first of all, let me just say welcome to Oakland County. This is a wonderful location, and I'm glad to be here. What's going on with John Kasich? What's going on with Chris Christie? What's going on with Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz? It's been the year of Donald Trump. Donald Trump has sucked all the political oxygen out of the room, making it very difficult and certainly unpredictable for any one of these other candidates. But keep in mind, Steve, the voters are about to have their say. First in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and then things tend to get, they move pretty quick. So I think pretty soon this will start to sort itself out, but it's been very tough for anybody to get the kind of footing that they expected going into the race.
Well, I would hate to actually do the ground game in Iowa. You get one bad snowstorm and you got to do those caucuses at night.
Yeah.
That takes a serious ground game, and I haven't seen Donald Trump put that ground game together.
Well, that's a very good point. In fact, there was an article not too long ago that pointed out that he has really no ground game. Sure, he gets a lot of people to come to these rallies, but have they done anything to organize, to know who their people are, to make the phone calls, to get them to the caucus sites, to do what's necessary in order to win? I think that remains to be seen. Ted Cruz is very organized in Iowa, too, so we'll see what how he comes out of it. Then you go to New Hampshire, and New Hampshire in many ways will be a little bit more of, I think, a broad-based test where people actually go out and vote. You don't have to go to somebody's living room and sit there all night and raise your hand when your candidate's name is called. It's like voting. You go to the polling booth,
Right.
you cast your ballot. So we'll see how that sorts out after the Iowa caucuses finish up.
Well, let's go back to Iowa real quick.
Sure.
That whole Iowa caucus system, I think, is where Trump starts to go down. Okay? Because people who are first-time caucus goers are going to be confused. They're going to be confused.
Right.
And only if you have a good ground game will it work. Do you remember Mike Huckabee?
Of course.
Came back and took Iowa.
Rick Santorum. I mean, he did because he was well organized. He understood how to put it together. And part of the Trump coalition, such as it is, includes Democrats and independents who have no history of caucusing. And you're right to point out that it is a unique experience where you, as I say, you got to go to someone's living room and sit there with your, Trump compatriots or your Rubio or whoever it might be until that name is called. It's a very different, it's a very uniquely American, uniquely Iowan experience that if you're not familiar with it, can be a little intimidating, frankly.
Well, I think New Hampshire is going to be the night of Kasich. I think that's where we see him rise. I watched him in the debate a couple weeks ago, and he was steadfast, experience.
Right.
I think that's where you see Kasich starts to rise.
Well, really what you're seeing right now is sort of a point where we think Trump is going to be there. We think Cruz is probably going to be there. Then is it going to be Rubio in that lane, or is it going to be Christie or Bush or Kasich? They're all sort of fighting for that spot so that we can get it down to 3 and then coalesce in the different lanes behind one candidate or the other.
Let's talk about the dark horse vice presidential nominee.
Yes.
I believe it's going to be Nikki Haley.
Well, I think she certainly improved her chances with her speech following the State of the Union. Her response, I thought, was very powerful.
And she's
got a lot of attention.
But she's got everything the Republicans are missing. She's an immigrant, for God's sake.
Immigrant, a
A
woman,
female.
governor.
Right.
I mean, she checks all the boxes, and she's very good.
And
she's
unlike
been
Carly
here.
Fiorina, she has a great smile.
Well, she's been to Michigan and not too long ago, campaigning for some other candidates, had a chance to meet her. She's as personable in one-on-one as she is in a large group. I think she's a very strong contender for a VP slot, but there'll be other names too.
Only problem I had with her was her trying to eliminate Black Bike Week. when she didn't do that with the white bikers, but she sort of made...
But she did step up when the Charleston shooting occurred. It was Nikki Haley that said, "Let's take down that Stars and Bars."
It was her. And she
Give her a lot of credit.
She redeemed herself somewhat with me.
Okay.
Yeah, but Black Bike Week is an amazing event. Have you ever seen that on YouTube?
I've never seen that. I got to check that out.
You got to check that out.
It's new to me.
Paul, you'll turn in your white card.
All right.
Paul, when we come back, we got to talk marijuana. We've had stalls in the petition drives to legalize marijuana. And I'm looking at El Chapo and all these guys that are getting busted for big-time marijuana, and we've got big-time marijuana sales going on in Detroit legally.
It's an interesting situation.
All right, we'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with Paul Welday, and we're going to talk about marijuana, getting high. We'll be right back.
Eric wants to know.
What does DTE Energy do to make Michigan a better place?
Rodney can tell you.
We do a lot, like youth education and employment programs. We fund over 500 jobs for youth all across the state. Many are neighborhood improvement projects just like this.
It's incredible.
Wow, that is fantastic. So this is like a paint by number, this whole thing, right? Communities are such great places, aren't they?
They sure are.
I love the siding. Measure once, cut twice, right? DTE Energy. Know your own power.
Those in the know that it's all happening at the Detroit Seafood Market in Paradise Valley, including happy hour weekdays from 4 until 7. Mondays, it's dinner for 2, including a bottle of wine for just $69. And Tuesdays, it's half-off bottles of wine with dinner for 2. Wednesdays, the Detroit Seafood Market offers all-you-can-eat crab legs for just $30. And who can resist a complete lobster dinner for 2 on Thursdays for just $69? The Detroit Seafood Market and PV Lounge in Paradise Valley. See you there.
Simply buying a gun is not enough. You need professional service and professional instruction. You'll get both at Action Impact in Southfield and in East Point. Good people don't have to be weak people. Learn how to protect yourself and your family.
Step in and step up to the next level in firearms and firearm training. Action Impact, Southfield and East Point.
Detroit Wants to Know is sponsored by the AFPD, the voice of independent retailers.
This is Arthur Bricker of Bricker Tunis Furs in West Bloomfield. We're back with the biggest fur clearance sale in our history. Save 40 to 70% off on women's and men's furs and shearlings. Choose from mink, sheared mink, sable, chinchilla, fox, beaver, and exquisite leathers and shearlings in the latest styles from Europe. Plus, our consignment boutique is full of gorgeous furs priced at a fraction of the original cost. No other furrier in Metro Detroit can match our quality, our selection, or our prices.
Celebrating 100 years in business. Call today, 248-855-9200.
Welcome back to Detroit Wants to Know. This week we're coming to you from the lovely Bricker Tunis in the amazing downtown of West Bloomfield. My guest is Paul Welday. Paul Welday, you've been on the forefront of medical marijuana, and you've been my source to tell me what's going on with the legalization of marijuana.
Well, it's a broad issue. Number one, it's about reforming medical marijuana in Michigan. You know, your viewers may remember that in 2008 we passed an initiative in this state making marijuana legal for certain medical purposes. The problem was that legislation or that initiative was so vague that it left all kinds of room for interpretation. So much so that what you're seeing in the city of Detroit,
including drive-through,
are dispensaries,
including drive-through dispensaries.
On every corner. But you come to Oakland County, I ask you, have you seen a marijuana dispensary since you've crossed north of 8 Mile Road? No, you haven't.
No.
So what the state has an obligation to do is to put some structure in place so that it is very clear as to what's permissible and what's not, who can grow it, who can sell it, who can process it. That's what's happening in Lansing now. There's legislation that passed the House, went to the Senate, and it's kind of slowed up a little bit there because there are folks who really don't want to be involved in marijuana at all. But I say to them, look, it's not a question of right or wrong. It's here, whether you like it or not. We have to make it work. And that's what's happening in Lansing today, is trying to find the votes necessary to pass a 3-bill package of reforms to make the medical marijuana system work here in Michigan, because it doesn't work now. Let's talk legalization.
Please.
That's an issue that's on the agenda for a lot of folks, and it's happening around the country. But honestly, in my opinion, it's not ready. We're not ready for it in Michigan.
Well, we need those tax dollars.
Well, we do, but is that the right reason to do it? There are people that have a reasonable debate, and I think that needs to be hit. Before we legalize marijuana for recreational use or personal use, we believe, the Michigan Responsibility Council, that we ought to get the medical marijuana system in place and fix that so that the folks who need it for medical purposes have got the access that they need before we open it up across the board.
Paul, what we're seeing in Detroit is the lower level drug dealers have no money. You've seen larcenies go up in Detroit because the lower level drug dealers have no money. The lower level drug dealers have no money is because their customers are getting medical marijuana. They're getting their card, they're getting it done.
Right, and that's a perfect case in point. There's no real legitimate relationship between patients and doctors. In many cases, there's no demand that you show your card when you walk into one of these dispensaries. It is a situation that's out of control. It's the wild, wild west, and we need to stop that and put some structure in place so everybody knows what's right, what's wrong, what's permissible, what's not.
Okay, well, at this point in time, will the legalization of marijuana be on the ballot in November?
There's still a couple of groups that have been circulating petitions to make that happen. However, neither one of those two groups, it looks, is going to have the staying power or the strength to get the signatures they need to qualify for the ballot. So between you and me, it's unlikely. If anything happens at all, it might be a ballot initiative to further define this reform of medical marijuana, depending on what the legislature does or doesn't do.
I would have thought that they would have had the money. I would have thought that the cartels would have said, you know what? You know, we need to make it into Michigan. We need to own Michigan. Yeah. Let's get on the ground floor. Let's fund this thing. Sort of like gambling in Ohio.
Well, right, but you know, it is a big gamble for folks who are in that business. And frankly, I think people in Michigan have said, wait a second, we really don't need people coming in from out of state to tell us what we should be doing with drug policy or marijuana, whatever it is. Let's figure out what we've got in front of us, fix that before we go into a large war. Now, most people will tell you it's probably only a matter of time, but right now it's still not quite time. It isn't time for legalization of marijuana in Michigan, at least in 2016.
You see how the light flickered on you?
It does, yes.
That was God saying, it's not a matter of time.
No, it's God saying, you're doing it right. Doing it right.
That's what God said. Okay. Well, Paul, I hope you'll keep us informed.
Oh, I will. Absolutely.
And as we get closer to March, you know, I want you to make sure I get some of those Republican guys on my radio show.
Don't
man.
you worry.
I want them on the radio show. We're talking to a bunch of people.
Well,
man.
we're going to have a week here in Michigan where it's going to be a flurry of activity. So you get ready, Mr. Hood, because they're going to want to be talking to you because they know that Detroit wants to know.
That's right, baby. All right. Paul Welding, thanks again,
Always
man.
a pleasure.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with Arthur Bricker.
At the Turkey Grill, turkey is what we do. So if you want the juiciest and easiest turkey for your holiday dinner, get your whole fried turkey now and relax on the big day. The Turkey Grill is open early every day with their $1.99 breakfast special, turkey sausages, hash browns, and toast. And they always have delicious turkey breast dinners, carved turkey breast sandwiches, turkey ribs, turkey wing bites, and juicy turkey burgers.
At the Turkey Grill, turkey is what we do.
The Turkey Grill on Woodward, 4 blocks north of West Grand Boulevard. Call 313-872-4624.
How would you like for this to be you? This is your chance. WVIE 107.3 FM and WHPR 88.1 FM are looking for people with outgoing personalities who can attract sponsors. If you're into talk, R&B, oldies, jazz, gospel, or soca, have your own radio show. We have block time available. Call 313-868-6612. Radio We Can See, broadcasting live in the Virgin Islands and Detroit.
This is Arthur Bricker of Bricker Tunis Furs in West Bloomfield. We're back with the biggest fur clearance sale in our history. Save 40 to 70% off on women's and men's furs and shearlings. Choose from mink, sheared mink, sable, chinchilla, fox, beaver, and exquisite leathers and shearlings in the latest styles from Europe. Plus, our consignment boutique is full of gorgeous furs priced at a fraction of the original cost. No other furrier in Metro Detroit can match our quality, our selection, or our prices.
Celebrating 100 years in business. Call today, 248-855-9200.
Find your path to success at Wayne County Community College District. From high-tech facilities to experienced instructors to a range of programs that give you the skills you need for in-demand jobs. Everything you need to jumpstart a new career or advance your education is at a campus near you. And we're here to support you every step of the way. So why wait? Register today.
Welcome back to Detroit Wants to Know. This week we're coming to you from lovely downtown West Bloomfield. We're at Bricker Tunis Furs at Maple and Orchard Lake. Basically, it's Orchard Lake and Maple. And my friends, gas prices are down. You got a little bit more money in your pocket. Maybe it's time to get that fur. And this is the perfect time. I've got my good friend Mindy Kriegel here. Mindy.
Hi.
Tell us about this fur sale that you have.
So we're having an end of the year fur sale. Up to 75% off on selected merchandise. Really everything's on sale. We want to sell some furs, and fur is fun now. And pretty much Arthur will make a deal on anything.
Well, here's the big issue. It was a very warm December. Okay, very warm December. People thought because of El Nino, winter wasn't coming. Now it's here.
Now it's here.
Now it's here. It's cold. The ice is frozen behind the house, and we know it's ready.
And
so,
we've seen people are coming in looking for, they thought that they could get away this year without a coat, but we're seeing it.
So this beautiful coat right here, okay, translate what 75% off means for something like this.
So where this coat, this is a consignment piece.
Mm-hmm.
So it's previously owned, as if you were going to buy a previously owned Jaguar or Range Rover. This is a previously owned mink coat. And it's a white mink.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, two-tone here, so it's really beautiful. And right now this coat might be $1,500, where originally it was $10,000.
Really?
And $10,000 new.
Mm-hmm.
And if Mr. Bricker was selling it for $3,500, he would make it at a price where it was affordable. And I'm throwing out $1,500 because I'm pretty sure he'd let it go for that, just so someone could take home something special.
And that's special.
This is very special.
You know, you got several balls coming up. Winter's going on for another 8 to 10 weeks, but that's an investment that would last for years.
This is a beautiful piece. And the thing about our consignment department is there's something for everyone. So where someone might think, oh, I can't afford that, yes, you can. We can make it so you can leave with something beautiful.
Okay, so that's something like $3,500 and then down to something like $1,500.
Right.
What about this beautiful thing here?
This is a lynx coat.
That's a lynx coat?
It's a lynx coat with fox.
So that's fox? Or is that lynx?
This is fox.
This is fox.
This is lynx.
Okay.
So you have two things going on. The arms have a little inset here.
Mm-hmm.
And a coat like this, well, lynx is really nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's special. Lynx is special. So this might be a little bit higher, so under 2,000. Under 2,000.
Wow.
Again, he's not going to let you leave.
Yeah, I'm going to run out of here because
this is a beautiful coat.
This is the kind of coat that'll get a guy in trouble. It'll get something locked on his
and
finger.
a woman feels really special. You put on your heels
and
your pretty outfit, and you just, when we put on a fur like that, it just makes us glow.
Now, you all also provide first storage here.
Yes, first storage, and we do remodeling, we do repairs. We can take your old coat, this happened yesterday, your old coat that's in the closet and turn it into a brand new stylish piece.
Wow. That sounds amazing, Mindy. What are your hours out here?
We're open from 10 to 5:45, Monday through Saturday.
10 to 5:45, Monday through Saturday,
Yeah.
out here at Orchard Lake and Maple.
Yeah, but we'll stay. If you're in here buying, we're not leaving.
All right. Tax-free refund season is coming up soon. Gas prices are lower than ever. It's time to get that fur. Make your lady look great. Or ladies, if the man isn't standing up, go make yourself look great. Mindy, before I go, tell me about your layaway plans.
Okay, we have a 3 to 6 month layaway plan as long as you make a payment every month. And I don't want to forget to tell you about our liquidation sale. So we are...
What's your liquidation sale? I just thought about the 75% off.
Up to 75% off, but that's part of the liquidation sale. There's merchandise in the other room, and we want to make room for new merchandise. We go to the show in April in Chicago, and we want to move some of this stuff so we can bring in some new stuff.
All right. Well, Mindy, thank you for this wonderful
Thank
week
you.
at
Thank you.
Bricker Tunis. And tell Arthur I said what's up. I still got to come back and get another Motown history lesson.
Yes.
All right.
Arthur, I'll give you that. Thank you so much.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's rough out here, but live it up. And if you have extra water, if you have extra bottled water, find a group that's giving out water to the people in Flint. Go do some help. Do some help. And if you have some extra time, go volunteer with one of the many agencies that helps tutor and mentor DPS students. Have a great week, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week.